Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the person behind Happy Puppy Truffles. Today I wanted to share with you guys a fun way to take the modular origami project for making a snake and connect it together to make a cool sort of ring or bracelet. And what I wanted to show you guys with was some of the rainbow paper that I shared with you guys yesterday. And I've made something here already with 48 sheets of paper, and I was just going to show you guys how you can turn it, twist it around and connect it to make a really cool finished sort of ring. And then if you wanted to take the same concept and make it a little bit bigger to make a bracelet, then I'll share you guys a little bit of math and show you how to do that too. So the tutorial for how to make this particular modular origami is as a snake kind of origami, and because it sort of moves and stuff, it's a really cool origami. And I'll have a link for that in the description, and you know, you can go ahead and check that out if you need to be reminded of how to make this. But you do need, like I said, a lot of pieces of paper, and the folds are really easy and the assembly is not that hard. The tricky part is just at the very end getting it to connect, and a lot of that depends on how tight things are for you. So but I wanted to show you guys what I've done so far with this. And I have 6 colors in my rainbow here. And I'm using paper, I'm using 8 sheets of each color. So that's where I got 48 pieces of paper total. And then the dimensions for each of these is 3.75 by 3.75 centimeters. Basically what that is a regular origami piece of paper cut into 1/16ths. So you fold it in half and then fold it in half again, cut it so that you get a nice long strip that's a 1/4 size, and then you cut that into 4 pieces. So you only need half of an origami sheet of paper to do what I've done so far. Now if you wanted to make something bigger, you could use the entire sheet, use all 16, and then you'd get double the size of what we're working with here. So basically, you can kind of tell when I look at this dimensions of this piece of finished modular origami. If I measure the dimensions from just this edge over to the other edge, because the tips here don't count, they connect to each other, I get something that's about 12.5 centimeters. And that's what this particular project yields. It gives you something that is 12.5 centimeters long. Now, for example, if I wanted to make something for my wrist, and I have my measuring tape here, and you could kind of assume that, you want something, if you want something tight and you can ask somebody like a friend to help put it on for you, you still probably want to kind of make it a little loose just to give yourself a little wiggle room for making it. But let's say, for example, I was going to make it 18 centimeters long. Then you can kind of just do the basic math here for this, where you take ratios, usually is the way I like to use stuff like this. So I know that to get 12.5 centimeters, I needed 48 sheets of paper. And if I want to get 18 centimeters, then I can just solve for x here, and it'll tell me with cross multiplication 12.5x. Don't mean to scare everybody. I don't want you guys to be scared. I know lots of people don't like math. But, and then we can then just divide by 12.5. And that'll give us our little answer here. Let me get my calculator because I'm not going to do that in my head. So like I said, basically 48 times 18 divided by 12.5. And that gives us about 69 pieces. If you wanted to go ahead and round up to 70, that's fine. And that would be the number of pieces of paper you'd need. And that should give you something that would fit around like my wrist. And like I said, you can measure your own wrist and kind of see. Now these dimensions are always centimeters, so you want to kind of keep that in mind too. But you can also, make it, like I said, just double it up, and you can have something bigger. If you want something that you can make and then slip over your hand, you're going to want to measure around, you know, the widest part of your hand, not your wrist, but, you know, more of your hand and how small you can make it. You don't want to make the whole thing and then try to squeeze it on and have it break. That would be really sad. So you want to give yourself a little wiggle room to get it on there. But I think just as a desk ornament too, it looks really cool when it's finished in this little ring type sort of thing. So if you don't want to make it a bracelet, you don't have to, but that's just some basic math if you're interested in doing something here to make, you know, your own. You'll know the general ratio of how many pieces I used and how long it was. You know, it was 48 for that. So you want to kind of keep that in mind for your own work so that you can, you know, make something to scale for yourself too. So just really quickly here, I'll show you guys how to connect this. I hope I can kind of get a good angle here. With the general connection for these pieces, I can take these apart for a second and show you guys what I've done. I know this purple might not show up so great, but, and again, this is in the other video, but you wind up making these little pieces that are folded up that look like little diamonds, and some have the flap on the left side and some have the flap up on the right side. And what we're basically doing is just taking and placing one inside the other, making sure they're not the same direction. And then the one that's underneath, these top flaps are going to slide into this inner pocket. So you're just going to push those in. I like to just kind of squeeze my finger in there and then just pull up and tug. And that pulls against what we've just folded down to give us a nice connection for the two pieces. So that's the same method we're going to use when we twist it around too. So I'll go ahead and get this guy stuck in here really quick. And I can even show you guys with the technique what we're going to be doing here because of doing it this way. If I'm putting this in here, and in this case it's the same kind of thing, and I just don't know if you'll be able to see it as easily, but normally you'd be putting one piece after another, but I'm taking a section here now. So it's still the same concept though. I want to go into the first layer, this little part here, so I can just slide this stuff in and get this part to slide into that tab there. And it takes a little bit of manipulation to get it going there, but if you can kind of get it going, you might want to kind of, oops, sorry, you might want to kind of curl it around so that it can get in there better. Sorry. You can see how I kind of curled that and tucked it inside, and then I could do the same thing over here too. So you can kind of curl it. And if you're having trouble, you can also put a little bit of tape on that end or something to make it a little sharper so that the point will roll in better for you. But I get that kind of in there, and that should give me, and if you're worried about it not being in completely, you could take some scissors or something and make sure the pencil, you know, you don't want to be marking on everything, and the round end will be too big. Or even a toothpick or something to make sure it's all tugged in, snug in there. So I have those connected, and I'm just going to be using the same technique. Now, the 48 pieces that I used here, I think is the absolute smallest that you can get away with, because there's just way too much tension when you're trying to bring it around, and you want to make sure that you're really kind of evenly allowing things to stretch. A lot of the stress is going to go right in the middle because that part's going to get the part that's going to bend out the most. So you want to try to push down a little as you're doing this and make sure you're not putting too much pressure there. But basically I'm going to be taking this tip and sticking it into this hole, and then we'll be connecting those parts. So I just kind of get that shimmied around here if I can, and I know this might not be showing so good for you guys, but you can see how I got that kind of going. And then you see this little pocket area here, that's where I want this little guy to stick into. And I got that okay. I think the inside part's a little trickier. You can kind of open it out like this, and you can see that little pocket there of where we want it to go. And it's just kind of wrapping it around until it gets connected and gives you your finished piece. And this origami is just so fun because it does move a little bit. So you can just leave it like this, where it's a nice little ring. And like I say, you can imagine how pretty this would be if it was like bigger to be like for a bracelet. It'd be a really cool bangle. And then you can also sort of put a little pressure on the outside edges, let that inner part come in and make it sort of open up more and just kind of allow it to go naturally. You don't want to push too much or pull too much, but you can really kind of get it to almost lay down perfectly into a circle. Now that's because I used a size that was so small. If you use something that's a little bigger, you know, you're going to have little slight different results of the way things lay down flat and stuff. You probably won't have as much tension. It'll lay down easier, but it may not look quite as impressive as it does when it's like this. But it looks just so cool when you turn it over and stuff. It's just such a neat, fun way to connect these pieces. So I think for the time it takes to make it and the results of getting, you know, this sort of cool origami that sort of moves and you can play with it on your desk and goof around with it. It doesn't really break very easily. I mean, if you yank it apart, it's going to fall apart, obviously. But considering, you know, what little amount of folding goes into it and what little amount of connection there is, it has a pretty cool consistency to it when it's finished. So, again, I will put a link for this if you need reminding of the exact steps to make the piece for this. And I will also, you know, there's a link for this colored paper if you want to use the rainbow colors and or any color paper you might have around. The math, again, as a reminder, if you need that, you can remember the ratio for what I used. 48 pieces was 12.5 centimeters long. Kind of keep that in mind if you're going to be making something of your own. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun making it. It's so pretty when it's done. So, I just want to make like lots of them. They kind of remind me of like fireworks too, you know, just really pretty, fun origami. So I hope you guys are all having a wonderful summer, and I will have some more fun things to share with you guys in the days to come. Thanks again always so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!